You can't unring a bell. What really happens to your data when you post anything online? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. When we post something online, say on social media, there's a reasonable expectation that what we post will remain in our control and be shown only to the audience we care about. The brutal reality is exactly the opposite. You lose all control of anything you post online, and it can end up in the hands of people and corporations you know nothing about. And that's even when your privacy settings are set to private. Let's say you post a photo of your dogs online. I'll post one here in this video, and there is one on the article that goes along with this video. I'll assume that you're using social media. The moment that photo is uploaded, copying begins. The service you're uploading to may create additional copies of your photo in different resolutions. On the Askleo website, something like 5 different resized copies are created. Each is then used in different contexts. Thumbnails, page display, and click for larger images are all examples of 3 different copies of the same image. The service may replicate the photo across a content delivery network so that files are delivered more quickly from the CDN servers nearest to you. I use a small CDN that replicates to the US East Coast and West Coast data centers. Large social networks may have hundreds, if not thousands, of servers scattered across the globe that would all eventually get copies of your photo. The service hopefully backs up what it's done to recover from any problems with the service. Askleo gets backed up daily, and social networks are backed up, likely, continuously. This isn't malicious. This is just how large services stay fast and reliable. Your data has already been copied to a gazillion places before anyone has even looked at it. And yet, every viewer gets a copy. If you were to go to the article associated with this video, it's askleo.com/24288. You'll see the picture of my dogs. There is now a copy of that photo on your computer. That's how viewing web pages works. The browser downloads a copy of whatever is to be displayed, the text and any media included on that page, and then places it in your browser's cache in case it's needed again sometime soon. What's soon? Well, there's no way to know. Items that haven't been used again for a while are deleted from the cache to make room for whatever newer pages you're viewing. Of course, you can also save a copy of that photo yourself in several different ways. Again, on the web page image, you can right-click and save image as, you can right-click and copy image, or you can take a screenshot. That last one is an example of my if it can be seen, it can be copied rule of thumb. Regardless of how many people might save the image, again, you lose all control. They can do with it what they wish. Search engines regularly make copies of web pages and whatever else they find online. It's not just Google and Bing. There are hundreds of different search engines around the world. All of them can scan whatever it is you post online. Now, while we normally think of search as just giving us a pointer to where the information can be found online, many search engines build their own local cache of data so that they can present what they find more quickly. Searching Google Images is a great example. The results that you get are images that come from Google's cache, not the original sites. In other words, copies. If wherever you posted your photo can be found in a search engine, as hopefully my page can be, then the images displayed on it are almost certainly copied to the caches of several different search engines. Now, besides traditional search engines, there are other systems that regularly scrape or copy content found online. Academic and research spiders. Everything from class projects to specialized academic research databases are constantly scanning the web. Archive services. They're busy copying web pages for historical purposes. Perhaps the best known is archive.org, but there are others. And, like it or not, right now, AI scrapers are slurping up everything they can find to train their models. Once again, this is more than just the big names you might think of, like OpenAI, Anthropic, and others. There are likely thousands of LLMs being trained on internet data constantly. All of them have the ability to make copies of your photo. Now, all of the services I've mentioned so far hopefully have backups. Backups, which technically is short for backup copies, means that there are even more copies of your photo living in data center backups, long-term tape archives, or who knows what else these services might implement. How long their backups are kept is, of course, unknown and different for every service. Let's not forget the backups taken by the people who viewed your content. If you back up your computer regularly, as I hope you do, then it's likely that the next time your backup runs, it will include a copy of my photo from the page you viewed in your browser's archive. One reaction, of course, is, but I've marked it as private. Restricting your audience is a fine way to reduce the initial exposure to, say, just your friends and family. Unfortunately, it really doesn't help. Your friends and family can download and make copies. Search engines, typically those internal to the service you're using in these cases, but perhaps others, will also have made copies. And of course, the service's backup will have happened and made copies. The first one is the one that typically trips people up. A trusted friend copies and shares a photo beyond your initial privacy setting. You can, of course, remove your photo from wherever you posted it. I can, for example, remove the photo from the article I've been talking about. That removes the original and perhaps the most obvious copy of the photo. But it doesn't matter. All those copies I've talked about, they've already happened. Your photo is loose in the wild. You've lost all control over it. Now, you can ask sites to take it down or remove it from their caches. You can file a DMCA takedown request for services in the United States. Some might even do what you ask. Most will ignore you. And this presupposes that you know where to look and who to ask. Sites and services you've never heard of will also have already copied your photo. There's this little thing called the Streisand effect. Sometimes asking for information to be removed backfires by drawing more attention to it. The right to be forgotten. When used successfully, it only removes the search engine entries pointing to whatever it is you want to have removed. The sites that were pointed to continue to exist, along with all the non-GDPR affected search engines and all the caches and backups I've discussed. The bottom line here is super simple. Think before you post anything. Maybe think of it as a release rather than a post to it or a share. You're releasing your photo into the wild. If you don't want something to be permanent and public, then don't post it. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/24288. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.